Okay, we are going to create a React Native app now. You'll need the Android environment set up and some other things configured, but you can do some research on that. We're just simply going to create the React Native project and get it going. So we're going to do npx React Native init, and we're going to do first app. And this might take a while. Usually installs quite a few packages. Yes. Okay, it is finishing installation, so we're going to go ahead and get started while it finishes. Let's see, so we've got the ReactJS file. We're going to kind of end up deleting most of this. Yeah, so we've got it up and running though. And then to run it, we'll just use yarn Android, and that'll run the Android emulator. On the next video, we will work on configuring this. That's trash. Okay, so it's still finishing installing some of the iOS dependencies, but we can get started on modifying the App.js and system different files. So first thing we're going to do is in first app, this folder, we are going to create a new folder. Let's see. Come on. Find some space. New folder. It's going to be our components, and then another folder with assets. Assets are going to be things like fonts and images and such. We won't have any of those right now, but we are going to use components. So in components, we're going to create some more folders. First is navigation, and then we're going to create another folder for global context. I'll explain some of these later. This is going to be for different screens, and then we're going to set up to a modules. Modules is going to be kind of like pieces that we add to the screens, or components is another word for it, but we already have a components folder, so it only gets confusing if you use that again. Alright, so we have our folder structure. You can see it in here. So we are going to actually start by completely deleting everything out of the app.js file. I believe, let's see. Yep. Just want to command A and delete. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up this project initially to contain a global context, which is shared variables throughout the application, and a navigator, which allows us to use different pages and to kind of navigate around the app programmatically. So, first thing we're going to do, we're going to set up function app and import any props. Oops. Okay. And then down here, we're going to export default app. Oops. Semicolon. All right, and then up here, okay, so we're going to import React and use context. I actually don't believe we need context currently, so we can actually just get away with React for now from React. And then we are going to import, let's see where. Alright, so we're going to import our navigation container. Oops. We're going to install this dependency as soon as our CMD is done installing the iOS CocoaPods. But for now, we can write the code for it. Navigation /native. Alright. I'm going to do a return statement here. We'll add some more to import statements here soon, but for now, we'll get started on this. So right now, okay, we are going to go to our components, global context, and we're going to create a new file within there that is global context.js. Okay. And in this file, we're going to import a few things. So React, use state, use effect, use ref, and create context. Now we're not going to use most of these right away. Like use ref and use effect we likely won't use for some time, but it'll be here for when we do use it. And let's see, I believe that's everything for that. So we're going to set up a constant of context equals create context, and then constant provider equals children. Okay, we're going to create some space here. And then finally, we're going to set up constant. Let's see, let me verify this. Yeah. Ooh, and I spelled provider wrong. Ooh, provider. Constant global context equals there. And then, let's see, right after that, we're going to do a return context.provider value equals global context. And then children right there. And then close that off. Okay, so that's our return statement. And then right after the curly bracket at the end, we will export both context and provider. Add some semicolons here. That'll be at the end. Okay, so now what we do is we're just going to start, just so you can kind of see how this works, we're going to create just a simple variable using use state. So we'll do constant, let's just do is logged in, and then set is logged in. If you don't know how use state works, I recommend looking it up. And we're going to start with false. User is automatically not logged in. So we create our variables there, and then we have to add them to the context. So right here we're going to do is logged in, and set is logged in. And we're going to save that. So now in other screens we can import these different variables and use them globally. And then in App.js we are going to import the context. So here we're going to do import context text provider from, and this will be from our components folder. Global, oh, did I spell that? Nope. Global context and global context.js. And we'll add some semicolons in here. All right. So now, let's see, not that, oops. Inside of the function, we actually don't need to do anything there. Okay, so now we're going to set up our app structure. So first we're going to have our provider. And this is what's going to pass the global context variables through to the different layers. And then, let's see. Failed to install CocoaPods. Okay, I'm not too worried about that right now because we're not going to use the iOS version. We're going to take a side step from the code, and we're going to add ReactNative, React navigation /native. And React navigation /stack. Get those installing. Okay, so we've got provider, And I feel like I'm missing something here. Okay. Not sure why the colors are off. Anyways. Okay. So we're going to add in a view style equals. I'm just going to create a style here. So for now, we're actually not going to, our style is going to be flex 1. We're just going to leave it at that. Close that off. And then we are going to set up our navigation container. Then inside of that is going to be our navigator. And we currently haven't declared the navigator yet, so we'll do that here in a second. And I just want to verify this style really quick. Yeah, okay, flex was 1. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to reopen that here. Okay, there we go. We got the colors back. Okay, now we're going to add our navigator module. So inside of the navigation, we're going to create a new, what do we here? Navigation, create a new file. It's going to be our navigator.js, and it's right there. Okay. So now we are, let's see, we're going to import create stack navigator from React Navigation /stack. And on top of that, we're going to import React again from React. And we're going to import view from ReactNative. We're actually going to copy this over to App.js because we need that over here as well for the view. Okay. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and let me take a look here. Yeah, let's see. Alright, so we're going to create a stack. And then we're going to create our function. So function navigator. Oops. It's there. And then, like the last one, we're going to do export default navigator. I believe, let's see, it's probably without. How did I do it? Okay, yeah. There we go. Okay, then we are going to return. So we have our stack.navigator and then initial route name equals, we're just going to call it landing. We're going to set up a landing page. And then we're going to close that off. And then in here is where we're going to create the different screens. So we're going to do a stack.screen. Oops. Name equals landing, component equals, now this is where we're going to import the page. We don't have the page yet, so I'm going to leave it blank. Then options equals, so you can create set up different options. I always turn off the header. And then you can also turn off, like, it creates like an animation. You can turn that off and different things. So in here, you're going to create this object for each page. So if I have 3 pages, I'm going to have 3 lines of this with different names and different components. Okay, so we're going to save that, and in app.js, now we need to import that. So we are going to import navigator from /components navigation navigator.js. And that is going to be used right there. Alright, so now for Navigator, we need to create our first screen. So in screens, we are going to create a new file. This is going to be our landing.js file. So this is for our landing page. We're going to import React from React and import view and text from ReactNative. Alright, and then we're going to create our function, landing. We're going to import the props. Oops, that's Python. Alright. And then export default landing. And let's see. Okay. So I'm going to return. We're just going to create a super simple page here to view, and then some text. Hello. We're going to save that. So now in Navigator, we're going to import that page, landing from /. Okay, so now we look at our folder structure. So navigation is in this folder. The screens are in there, so we're going to do screens and landing.js. So now our component is going to be landing right there. And that's the component we just imported. Okay, so we are ready to test our app. So we're going to go to our command line and use yarn Android. And you'll need your emulator and Android Studio already set up. Mine are already set up, and so it should simply work. But we'll let this boot up, and then we'll see how it runs. Oh, looks like we got some more. Okay, so we have the app running. You can see it says hello there. So now in our screens, we'll open landing, we'll say hello user. And theoretically, yeah, it should update right away. Okay, so now I'm gonna, let's walk through using the global context variables really quick. Okay, so we are going to import our context from, it should be under global context and global context.js. And then from React, we are going to import use context. And then right here, we are going to add constant global context equals use context. And we could actually get away with not using this. And we'll just say, well, we're good. I don't know. I like to use it. So then constant, and this is where we're going to import the variables from our global context. So right now, if we open global context, we have is logged in. So let's simply import is logged in from global context. And right here, let's just add a line text. Let's say you are, and then is logged in. If it's true, we'll leave it empty. If it's not, we'll say not. Logged in. Let's see, lowercase it. Let's save that. And it'll update. You're not logged in. Now, if we go to global context and we set this to true, you are logged in. So you see how that works there. And let's fix some of the spacing here. There we go. So we're going to leave this as false. User is not logged in. And now I can create separate pages. We'll go into more of the navigation things later. Right now, I'm not going to cover that. But that is kind of how you get set up with React Navigation and global context.